Let's jump over to the college football playoff selection changes. This is something that is, I believe it dropped in the last week or so. And this is something that I just didn't really find time to really mention here on the show. And guess what? We're mentioning it now because, as we all know, the playoff expanded to 12 teams for the 2024-2025 season last year. And that first year, it brought a lot of excitement for some. Some hated it. Ultimately, I think college football fans liked more meaningful football when it came to a bigger football schedule with a bigger playoff. And, that there was definitely pros and cons to that. But so obviously a lot of controversy came with it. But, you think of the debates of whether SMU should have edged out Alabama, South Carolina, or Ole Miss, with that big debate that was going on. Did Indiana really deserve to be in there? Oh, they got mollywomped. I will defend Indiana and say they didn't get completely destroyed the way that the score or people try to make that out to be. If you go back and watch that game, if Jeremiah Love didn't have, I believe I'm saying the correct name there, if the running back, if he didn't have that huge 90-some yard touchdown, you take that one play out of that game and that turns into a much different game. But anyways, the fans were heated about all of everything going on last season. Lots of controversy. A lot of fans were also excited. I think every fan that was arguing that they didn't like the 12-team playoff, like myself, still enjoyed the 12-team playoff for what it was worth. More playoff games. Hey, I'm all for it. I'm going to enjoy the games, but I don't think 12 teams ought to be fighting for a national championship. That's just my argument. And we could go on another day. But anyways, quick break in the action. Make sure you hit that like button and make sure you are subscribed. If you want to support the channel a little bit further, jump down to the link down in the description below and make sure you become a member today for as low as $2.99 a month. We're going to offer so much more for our members, but we're still going to keep all of the same old content. All of this content is still going to be brought to you guys, but just a little bit extra for our members. Let's get back to the action. Moments, along with all the questions of strength of schedule, kind of weighing out the conference championships, who deserves the top 4 buys. It all sparked kind of a major review on how teams were chosen and how they were ranked within that system. So here's what happened after the 2024 season and after the 2024-2025 playoff all wrapped up. What they did after January is they put together this college football playoff committee and kind of launched a 6-month review, a big review of just seeing how things went down, how fans reacted, whether they liked it, whether they disliked it, whether they absolutely hated it. They set up 2 different panels. One focused on analytics, metrics, all that kind of stuff, and the other one focused on membership policies, the procedures, kind of really that community base over on that side of things. And so after all the number crunching, after all the policy debates, after all the changes were officially announced on August 20th. So it would have just been yesterday. Man, I thought this was longer ago, and I have in my notes that this was just yesterday. I feel like I probably have the wrong date there because I feel like this was a little while ago that this came out. But anyways, let's kind of break down what some of these key updates were for the upcoming 2025-2026 season. So this season that is starting here in, let's see, 9 days. Is that right? 9 days. So we are Gentry Williams days away from college football, everybody, in Norman. Anyways, let's start off with the data, the metrics side of things. So first, the strength of schedule, that formula, it's been tweaked a little bit. It now puts more weight on games against quality opponents, so SEC teams and others playing tough schedule. We won't really feel overlooked at all. I think you're going to see an SEC opponent schedule like what Oklahoma has, that's going to weigh in a lot. So this really builds up to the point that I think a lot of media heads have been talking about, as well as myself, is that 9 wins with adding in the strength of record, the strength of schedule just a little bit more, that really could play into your favor even more with just 9 wins for the Oklahoma Sooners. So 9 wins could get you to the playoffs. I'm going to tell you right now, I think every Oklahoma fan out there would probably agree with me. I'm not happy with making the college football playoffs alone if it's only 9 wins. Now, if Oklahoma wins 10, 11 games, 12 games, makes the college football playoff, obviously that's a success. But if you're barely squeaking in, you're not content. You're happy that you made it, but you're not content making it there. So anyways, that the fact that they're going to take into tough schedules, they're going to look at that strength of schedule and kind of put a new metric that's kind of weighing heavier on that favors Oklahoma with such a tough schedule. And then on top of that, a brand new metric is coming in, which is the record strength. Now, this isn't just going to look at how you play, but it's going to see how you perform against that schedule. So you can have a terrible schedule, but you performed really well against that schedule. So, for example, Indiana last season, they just absolutely dominated all of the opponents, but then they got to some tougher opponents and didn't do so well. So that's going to weigh all that out. Let's use another one. For example, Ohio State. I don't think Ohio State makes it to the playoffs last season if we're using this new record strength. I might be wrong because maybe it doesn't take into effect as much as I think it should. But Ohio State did not perform very well against the good teams that they faced on their schedule, outside of maybe Indiana. I'll give you that one because I think Indiana was a good team. Anyways, they lost to Oregon and they lost to Michigan. Those were their two good games. They're good teams. And so because of that record strength, I don't think Ohio State would have made it in. Anyways, it's not going to just look at, again, it's not going to look at who you play. It's going to show how you perform. And so again, with Oklahoma, if Oklahoma's only winning by 1 point, but somebody else is whooping up on smaller teams, maybe lesser teams by several points, by 20 points, that's going to look good on their record strength. So anyways, big wins against big opponents, tough opponents are going to get rewarded even more. I think I went on a little longer than needed for all that. Second, the policies, procedures to all of this selection. It's kind of the recusal policy that's kind of been expanded to kind of make conflicts of interest a little bit more clear. So, if a committee member or their family is directly tied to a program, that's full recusal. There's no discussion, no vote for that team. And if your connection is lighter, like being an alum, the member can stay in the room, but it won't get a vote. And then there's going to be some idle teams, those who aren't playing in the final week, can still kind of move in the rankings, but only if the evidence supports it. So the blanket rule here is just accountability. You're not allowed to be tied directly to a team and go in there and vote on all the rankings and everything. So that's going to kind of change a little bit, which is something that I think a lot of fans can look at and appreciate. And then finally, the new member orientation, it's kind of shifted to October. That way, all 13 members will have 8 weeks of games to study before they even start practicing using this new system. So, and one more important note to kind of throw in there is that earlier this year, the College Football Playoff Committee also changed how the buys are going to be awarded. Instead of automatically going to the top 4 conference champs, they're now going to go to the top 4 ranked teams overall. So the conference champions are still going to be guaranteed a spot in the college football playoff with that 12-team playoff, but this tweak gives a little stronger non-champions a fairer shake to get that bye week, which may work out in your favor if you don't, I think all 4 teams that had a bye last year, I believe, lost. You had Oregon, they lost. Boise got that bye as well, didn't they? I'm trying to remember this. It's been a little while. Georgia got the bye week. And who was the 4th? It was Arizona State, right? So, yeah, you had 4 teams. All 4 of those teams ended up losing, if I'm remembering that correctly from last season. So that may not be a bad thing, because personally, when I saw that last year and saw how that all played out, I'm not so sure I want that bye anymore. I think I'd rather that bye just be taken away. Let me play a game and keep. You think about it, for the teams that won a conference championship, they went out and played a tough game, one extra game, and then went into the college football playoff. But they were building themselves up to all that momentum. That momentum was built up to the conference championship game, and they won that game, and they keep on building up all this momentum, and then that momentum is just ripped away from them. I think that's kind of silly. And so I think there needs to be a different way about going about that. Anyways, the conference champions won't just automatically get the top 4 spots. It's going to be based on your actual rankings at the end of the season. So to sum it up, the goal here, pretty much just fairness, transparency, kind of better tools on evaluating teams, to better metrics to evaluate the teams as well. And is it going to completely solve all the debates that are out there? No, probably not. Most definitely not. There's always going to be something to debate. This is college football, but the College Football Playoff Committee obviously wants something to do something about it, to show that they are listening to fans. They want fans to know that we don't want you just to tune out completely, because we do care about your viewership. We want you to enjoy what you love, because we also love this game as well. And so pretty much the breakdown of the College Football Playoff selection is that we're going to see ultimately, we're going to see how it all plays out, whenever the season kicks off. But until then, of course, I'll try to keep everybody updated and try to remind ourselves of all of this as we go throughout the show as well, or as we go throughout the season. If you liked this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. If you want to support this channel, keep on growing, and for more to be offered to you, become a member today for as low as $2.99 a month. That's as cheap as, honestly, cheaper than just grabbing a coffee down at the coffee shop each day. So go down there, down below. $2.99 a month is what we start off our memberships, and it will help us keep on growing and offering you more and more content as we grow. Of course, make sure you're subscribed, and that link is down in the description below to become a member today to help us keep on growing. We'll see you next time. Boomer.